moving on to Venus, shall we do the same round but with our Venus symbol? So mine is the Halloween gesture. Julie.
I'm not entirely sure what mine is. James will have to help me out here.
A man trimming palms.
Yeah.
A man what?
Trimming palms.
Trimming.
Dreaming.
Trimming. Cutting.
Trimming palms. Okay.
Katrina.
Child born of an eggshell.
Oh, I remember that one.
Heidi.
A public market.
Okay. Richard.
A golden-haired goddess of opportunity.
Wow.
That's today.
James.
Winter frost in the woods.
Ah, yes.
Wow. So that's Julie's sun sign, right?
Mm.
Great, great. So what I want you to do now is tell me, think about it and tell the group actually, what are your keywords for Venus? What do you associate with Venus? Venus, I can start. I would say Venus is beauty.
Is, again?
Beauty. For
Beauty.
me, Venus is beauty. Anyone else wants to give a keyword? Heidi?
I would say it's love and loss. And love, self-love as well as love in relationship with others.
Sabrina?
It is creativity and harmony and art.
Wow. Heidi?
Money?
Oh yes, forgot about money. Yeah. Sensuality.
Julie?
The only thing I knew before this was love, so this is very helpful.
Okay.
Values, maybe.
Good.
James, do you want to say something? So we have beauty, love and loss, love, self-love, loving relationship with others, creativity, harmony, art, money, sensuality, values, love.
Certainly, I agree with all of these as being Venusian. Money is rather controversial insofar as money actually relates to every single one of the planets. So yes, it relates to Venus, but it's deceiving if we just say specifically that. Yes, beauty, love, creativity, harmony, art. What brings all of these together? What's the essential principle that underlies all of these meanings?
Sort of leisure and enjoyment, receptivity.
It's not essential, is it?
Is it the female principle?
We haven't mentioned that, but yeah, you know, the Venus symbol and the Mars symbol are used in hospitals for men and women, aren't they? A baby called a Venus if it was a girl, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, gosh.
So it's feminine. Venus is feminine.
Mm-hmm.
The underlying principle is attraction.
Cool.
What makes things beautiful is if when they're attracted together, they produce this sense of harmony, and that's art as well, and that's relationship as well. When two things are harmoniously attracted together, because things which are not resonant tend to repulse each other. Things which are resonant and they tend to attract. And this happens on all the levels. So a very, very strange interpretation of the meaning of Venus is that it represents gravity. It's what pulls things together. So if we look underneath the surface of Venus, we're looking for what we have been attracted to in our lives.
So the first question is, what do you value mostly in close relationships? The second question is, how do you express yourself most gracefully? The final question is, what are you most liked for? So, let's start. Katrina, do you want to share with us your answers, please?
The first one, what do you value mostly in close relationships? I value simplicity, childlike and naturality, or being very simple, like children are, maybe. And this is intimacy on this maybe soul level, if it is possible. I try always to get to this level somehow. It's not sometimes possible, but if it is not possible, anyway, I always keep in mind that we are children. It helps me somehow.
Can you make any connection or not?
I can make the connection only with this spontaneity children have, and I think it's very natural if we can communicate on this level where we can be spontaneous. Then for me it's a valuable connection.
I think that's the point. It's spontaneous. The child born of an eggshell represents breaking free of that which has enclosed us, old patterns of behavior, cracking away from that, and being a new version, which is what the soul is currently. I mean, what is always currently doing. It's always free from habit. It reinvents itself every moment. So that ties in rather well. It's a very childlike image. Spontaneous behavior of a child is trying to discover itself anew all of the time. So that fits rather well, I think.
Can I say something?
Really, yes.
I just wondered about what you said about the soul connection, because I was thinking about children, because they can connect on a soul level, can't they? Quite easily.
Yes, the same principle. The spontaneity is lost as we become structured into adulthood by the community's needs, but child behavior and soul behavior are free of that. And this child born of an eggshell is not what you'd expect. It's different from expectations. You'd expect a chick, you get a child. It's just like new, it's different. It's not subject to the old patterns.
Yes, so my symbol is a public market. And what I value most in relationships, think about this a lot, but I have a few things. I would say first integrity, depth, and co-creation. I like to create with people. And also, well, an aspect of, well, maybe that's depth as well, but open-mindedness, like open-mindedness, yeah.
Yeah, the first word you gave was integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And the public market is about fair exchange.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
So that's how that ties in.
Mm-hmm.
Reciprocal benefit that makes conflict less likely.
Yes, I do. This really resonates with me because I'm not actually it would be what I value least is a conflict-based approach in relationships, people who only find harmony through making a conflict. That's something I am quite repulsed by.
The issue would be if either of you was giving or taking too much. That would lead to conflict, wasn't it? I mean, the
Interesting. Yeah, because with the public market as well, there's an exchange and there is some kind of set rule. In general, we pay money for a good that we receive. And in personal relationships, there's always that kind of balance and tendencies to overgive, which I have worked with. And I'm in a space where that's a bit more balanced right now, but I do see that symbol applies to my Venusian journey in that way of a fair exchange, yeah. And also the co-creative aspect of a public market, because in general, all people who are there has this co-creative aspect, and I do like to.
yeah, synergy, isn't it, in action, the marketplace. Everybody's getting more because they're exchanging their surpluses. It's a good relationship works. You do what you've got more of. You don't give too much, but because both are doing that, both gain more than they give.
Yeah. Yes, and actually it's kind of the club of Costa Rica. When we want to see the people, we go to the market on Saturday. So it's kind of clubbing for the jungle, because we don't really have any of these things.
Do you remember something what you have co-created with another person, or maybe?
Yeah,
and
I love to write with people. I've written some comedy for a show called What If. It was together with someone. I absolutely love it. Also with the people that I have attempted romantic relationships with in the last years, there was always that co-creative aspect. They would play music at my classes, or we make something together. I really like that. I never feel quite so alive as when I'm creating with someone.
So my Venus is Gemini. Is it 25?
Gemini 25.
And it's trimming of palm leaves. Palm trees. Okay, so my answer was spending time doing things together, sharing music, arts, nature, and sharing, exchanging sort of positive affirmations with each other.
I like that.
The man trimming palms is his function in life is to stop nature from going apeshit and just like make wildness contained, so that there's a structure that is workable.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm just trying to think how I could relate to that. And I suppose it's about not getting overwhelmed.
Also with your stellium in Gemini would make you try a bit of this, bit of this, and a bit of that, and a bit of the other all of the time. You'd be looking for new and different all of the time. And then you met Richard, and you just sort of focused your wildness down. You're a bit of a wildling, weren't you, really? But when I first met,
talking about, I'm still wild.
Well, exactly, but I knew you just before you met Richard.
Yeah.
And obviously a long time since, but you were a bit uncontained and uncontainable.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So he's actually putting a little bit of structure around your life to focus you into more greater depth rather than breadth.
Yes, I could agree with that.
Which you're experiencing as sharing, because when you're sharing, you're doing a bit of what you want and a bit what the other wants. That is the limitation, isn't it? The containment.
Yeah, I suppose it helps me to be contained if I'm sharing with other.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do, isn't it? To contain yourself, you share your decision making about what you're going to do next, and it's a part of relationship, isn't it, to contain each other?
Well, yes, I hadn't really thought of it like that before, but yeah.
At the beginning, when we were talking about the general keywords for Venus, a lot of what we're talking about here, we're talking about Venus. But when we actually go to the Sabian degree, we're talking about your particular way of doing that, how it particularly makes a difference to you. And it is in this case that you were enjoying breadth to the exclusion of depth until you got involved in a serious relationship, and then you started to go deeper into yourself, and you committed yourself to various activities like camps and singing and all that kind of stuff.
My point is golden-haired goddess of opportunity, Sagittarius 10. And my answer was, what do I value mostly in close relationship? Honesty, openness, sensitivity, and I wrote down being poked or being provoked. So it's the opposite of is it the opposite of harmony? It's kind of linked to what Julie was saying about sharing positive affirmation and testing that. Is that really true? Is that really what you want? What's going on?
My answer was loyalty. And the way I see loyalty, the way I understand loyalty is that I don't have people running when I happen to show them my shadow sign. Now, my Venus is Scorpio 30, the Halloween jester. So how does this ties up? So once in a year we have a celebration and I lose my mind and everything comes out, and hopefully the people that stay, they are friends. That's how I see this. And this is how I tie everything with my Sabian symbol for Venus.
The question of whether the loyalty is the most accurate statement of that view, you're talking a lot about acceptance, aren't you?
Yeah.
Rather more than loyalty. I mean, loyalty included within it, but acceptance is a deeper concept. Yeah. And acceptance most assuredly ties in with the image of the Halloween jester. And it's not only once a year. A community will often give times to let out the wildness. It could just be Friday night for a certain age group. That's Halloween for people, Friday night, and then they're allowed to be drunk between midnight and 3 o'clock in the morning, and then they're not allowed anymore for another week. That's kind of how it works. So there's a part of you which Venus in Scorpio is an intensity, natural sense of testing boundaries to see what is authentic, where's the boundaries, what's the reality here. And you don't test the boundaries except by trying to break them and seeing what happens. And in your case, what you're doing is just to see whether you've got authentic relationship with people, whether they can put up with you when you're being awkward to be with.
That's good.
In my case, what I value the most is to be allowed freedom of expression, to have no sense in which there's a judgment against what I am. Not so much really on Halloween, but every day of the year. And the reason I think of this as being the only way that I could actually find the truth of who I am is if I'm with people that will allow that. And it's noticeable here in where I am that there's a group of people that are really quite on the edge. The musicians very often behave in a very strange antisocial kind of way, but they're all together when they do it, and I was naturally drawn to be a part of that group. So we all behave in a very strange way sometimes, and that's just normal for musicians. So that's my natural kind of habitat, really. My Sabian symbol is the 26th degree of Gemini, winter frost in the woods. And this is the image of stripping away all of the dressing to get to the winter of a tree, the unadorned essence, its the beauty of its structure, essential beauty, the authentic self having a beauty rather than the glamour that you add to that. So that kind of checks in with why I like to be with people that allow me to be exactly who I am moment by moment. I spend most of my time alone. Richard has done some particular study of his Venus, and we're going to just really test to see how the image of the golden-haired goddess of opportunity makes sense in his life experience within the Venus aspect of being. So go into a bit more depth, if you would, Richard, about how you've experienced Venus-like things in your life.
For most of my life, until very recently, I associated Venus primarily with love, harmony, and beauty, and the pursuit of whatever I find loving, harmonious, and beautiful. If I link that back to the Sabian symbol, so there's been a real temptation in the first half of my life to pursue fame and fortune, which is really what this is about. Society values, or seems to value, promotes the idea that everyone should aspire to be famous and wealthy. And for the first 40 years of my life, I bought into that and spent a great deal of time and energy climbing the corporate ladder, wanting for myself more and more status, more and more salary, more and more recognition, and so on. And to my embarrassment, or I find it slightly embarrassing now talking about it, I did that to the exclusion of spending time with my family. Some people might have described me as a workaholic. So that's what I did until something happened, and I can't pinpoint exactly what or who, began to wake me up to alternative ways of being, and alternative ways of valuing things, valuing different things, valuing alternative lifestyles. I had an opportunity to go to Findhorn actually for it was a conference called Walk Your Talk, where people with great ideas but no money were meant to get partnered up, paired up with people with money but no ideas. I can recall an instance where I was out walking with my then first wife, and this must have been after my trip to Findhorn. In fact, I went back a year later as well to the same conference. But we were talking about our retirement and our future lives together. And I just thought, I do not want to be with you in my future, in my retirement. And she said, you loved it at Findhorn, didn't you? And I said, yes. And she said, I would hate it, wouldn't I? And I said, yes, you would. And so it was said jokingly, but I was thinking, this is actually going to turn out to be extremely true. She was talking about spending the rest of our lives together, and I was thinking, no, we're going to go to very different places.
Can you tie this up with the symbol?
Yeah, it was about, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to achieve? Do I want to bow down to society's drive and value of marriage, wealth, the rut of being on the corporate ladder, keeping up with the Joneses next door, as we say in England? Or did I want to do and explore other things which weren't going to involve climbing the corporate ladder and wasn't going to involve great wealth? So
can you remember what it was in Findhorn that changed you from valuing the social norms to changing your values to wanting exploration? What changed the what was the
well, it was meeting lots of what I would now call like-minded people, and two in particular.
So the glamorization of social success associated with the golden-haired goddess of opportunity disappeared at Findhorn, or did it? Have you glamorized James and Rosie in their projects?
I did at the time, very much so, and for a number of years afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, so we need to go to the next dimension then, don't we? How did you give up the glamorization of the new age message?
Can I set Rosie aside for a moment? Let's talk about James and my work with James. And when he and his colleagues, and it was a small group of people, were working in what for me was a very unconventional manner. They did have an office, but they were working to try and raise funds for people with very innovative and exciting sustainable products.
Very, very glamorous, it sounds.
It was very glamorous. They had an office in St James's Square in London, which
Ooh.
was very posh. And yeah,
they spoke in very, very big numbers, didn't they?
They spoke in very, very big numbers. We had very, very fancy lunches in very, very fancy restaurants.
Okay, so we've established that you just moved out of the frying pan into the fire. How are you now with this, glamour thing? Are you still interested in social climbing for glamorous reasons?
Glamorous, not for glamorous reasons, no.
Well, glamour, as we understood last time, is what Neptune needs to establish a relationship with the world, which is otherwise a very grim and unacceptable place. Nothing wrong with glamour. You're talking it down, aren't you? So this golden-haired goddess of opportunity,
yeah,
that's not a cynical title.
No.
So what is your golden opportunity? I mean, the glamour of something has taken your Venusian interest and set you on track.
Okay. I think there is a glamour I'm responding to associated with the Sabian mysteries.
Yeah, I think that's where we're coming with this.
Yeah.
I would think that most of your friendships now are associated with this work.
Yes.
And we're moving in that direction. I'm not saying that that's changed yet, but we're moving in that direction. And so the glamour of this work is that we know what other people don't know. We can understand the meaning of life, and we understand ourselves, and so on.
Yeah.
Which is, that's what the glamour is. That it's not wrong. We just present that glamour onto the energy field that we're living in, and as who we are, and it's false. I mean, however close we get to knowing ourselves during this work, the idea that we're actually on target is false. We're never going to get to know ourselves. We can only get to know ourselves better.
Yeah.
That's the difference between the glamour and the reality of what we're doing.
Yeah.
But being drawn by the glamour took you, first of all, on a very wholesome and useful development into the social world, where you became a company director, and you moved out of that into another world where you became a man with a reputation for doing good work in sustainability, and that was your friendship circle. And you moved out of that world into a different world now, where your friendship circle sees you as a passing man who passes information, esoteric information. It's all following a glamour, isn't it? Nothing wrong with that, is there?
Yeah. Yeah.
How would you define glamour, James, if you were to put it in a definition?
The illusion that we project onto reality so that we see it the way we want to see it. That's our glamour. So I've got the glamour of being a workshop leader. That's what I am, but it's not true. I'm a man who's doing workshop leader at the moment. That's the truth of it. But the glamour is that I am what I show.
So is it linked to ego in any way?
Yeah, for sure. But it's that didn't make it. If you identify yourself as your glamour, then you're an egotist, perhaps. If you identify yourself as a person who needs a glamour and you've worked it out to do it this way, that would be more egoistical, which would be a healthy thing. Egoism is healthy. We need to be different from other people, and that's egoistical. But to say that I'm more important than someone else is egotistical.
Yeah,
that's negative. That's self-denying, really, because you never get to the truth of who you really are if you do that. And we do that partly by whom we meet, whom we identify with. Our social circle says so much more authentically about who we are than anything else. You can have all the satisfaction of getting things to put on the wall, achievements, certificates, and money in the bank, and blah blah blah. But actually, whom you spend your time with, that's really central to who you are, isn't it? And we tend to make that up by our Venus to some significant extent. I mean, there is something about you, Richard, which is this image of a golden-haired goddess of opportunity, like gold-haired, like magnificent, and a goddess and opportunity. It's all wow, isn't it? There's this wow about the image. There's not many images in the book as wow-like as that one. It's really wow, and I would say that's one of your favorite words, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like the distinction between identifying as the glamour and and thinking about the glamour as a motivation.
Yeah, it's a motivation, a tool, and so on.
Yeah. And I think one of the photographs on your website is about a golden-haired goddess, literally. I don't know if she's on a chaise longue on a stage or whatever, but she's going out into the world and portraying something.
And do you like that image?
Do I like that image? Yes, I like the image, and yes, it would attract me to it.
I love the idea of like glamour as a tool, like when we're aware of it, because I've been thinking about our discussion of last week quite a lot, and I was thinking about it, like we need, like how to incorporate it in our lives in a healthy way, because it does bring us places we need to go.
Yeah, that's right. It is a motivating force. Anna wanted some time ago. Let's see what Anna has.
Yeah, my question was going back to the meaning of Venus, which is the attraction, right? Venus represents gravity. So how is Richard kind of attracting this to his life? And is he attracting the opportunities? Is he attracting the opportunities in the shape of a person? He obviously attracted Julie, so that's an opportunity as well that he attracted. So how and somehow it kind of seems that the path is been pretty fun and good, because here you are, in spite of all your Machiavellic past in the corporate business world. Here you are, so it looks like a good outcome of all of this. So
well, it is. You're quite right. Yeah. What was your question? Was there a specific question?
My question is, what is he attracting? How is he playing the Venus principle through his story? Is he attracting the opportunities, or is he attracting people? That kind of got me lost, because there were specific opportunities, events, and then there were people that were really important in his life that kind of signified a shift in the past. So what is Venus attracting?
Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it? I mean, these people that you're meeting, how did you get them to be a part of your life? How did Julie find you attractive? How about James and Rosie and myself? You know, were the ones that were attracted to you, or you were attracted to?
Yeah.
It's a two-way thing. I mean, we're attracted to you as much as the other way around. That's
Yeah. Question 3, what am I most liked for?
So what did you put down for that?
What did I put down for that? My smile, my enthusiasm, and my willingness to participate.
Oh yeah, that's definite one.
Okay,
Yeah, the willingness.
we all agree.
Following up things.
Enthusiasm and willingness to participate is
Yeah,
a huge benefit.
Yeah.
absolutely.
You say yes to people.
Yeah, I do.
And that's the golden opportunity, isn't it? Because you know, you find a way, you inevitably get to the center of things. Have you noticed that? Is that clearer for you, Richard?
Yeah, I want to come back to Anna's question. Is it people or opportunities? And for me, it's both. Opportunities come in the form of people and their involvements.
Thank you.